Guys, we have been recording like crazy, so much so that we're dropping this as a midweek episode so that not all of the information in here is outdated. Josh and I jumped on to talk about the moshcore champions on Broken Wings. We get into a discussion about using the same song re recorded on different albums. We talk about Josh's experience seeing these guys, and we laugh about hardcore music being a real life soundtrack to the first big scuffle Josh remembers. You can catch these guys on the upcoming New England Metal and Hardcore Festival this September in Massachusetts. But for now, let's open this pit up.
Somebody hit somebody!
What up, guys? This is me, Josh, and I'm here with Trevor today from the Pit Therapy Podcast. Kyle is out at the Movement show tonight
In Dallas, yeah.
in Dallas. Who's all playing that show? Do you remember?
I don't, and I was just pulling that up as you just said that because I don't remember. Are you a Movements fan? Do you like them?
I think just with my hesitation, that's probably the answer. I don't think I know him well enough to give that answer. I'm pretty sure I've heard him, but if you played a song from him, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I didn't love their new album, Ruckus. I know a lot of people really, really like it. Kyle really, really likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's going. Oh, it's actually a sick tour. It's Movements, Tiger's Jaw, Webbed Wing, and Perish. So Tiger's Jaw would be sick.
I told him to stage dive during Tiger's Jaw. So they came through and played years ago, and I think they only had 2 records out at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, they played at Kilby Court, and right as they started playing, a bunch of us started crawling up into the rafters and landing on people, and the crowd was not pumped. But then I
I can
remember
imagine.
I was in front the whole time, screaming along to their lyrics, and they're so cool. They it kind of was bummed because they stopped playing shows for a while because they were the crowd just gets too rowdy for us and we don't like it. And I'm like, I'm one of them. I'm sorry.
See, this is probably an appropriate tour for them then, because I think Movements is going to bring out a less wild crowd.
Yeah.
I don't really know who Webbed Wings is or Perish, but
I'm sure the venue setting has a lot to do with it because if they play on a bigger stage, they're away. But Kilby, you're face to face,
yeah.
So, but they're really good live. I remember when I first heard them, it was that awkward sound that you shouldn't like because it's kind of along the lines of Thursday. If you've listened to their first record, they're not good at they're not top tier singers, but it's really good.
Yeah, it's like the post-hardcore vocalist. And we're actually going to talk about this when we're here talking about On Broken Wings because it's the same thing. It's you're not classically good at singing. I don't want to go to karaoke and listen to you sing, but in your band, I really like your vocals, so.
Right. Yeah. So I remember listening to that, and I remember trying to show my brother them, and he was just like, I don't know how you listen to this crap, man. And I'm like, dude, it's so good. So
Yeah.
another band I've actually been kind of attaching to as of lately is the new Boundaries record. Have you listened to that?
You talked a lot of crap on that single that they dropped.
The single. I think I would say the crap I was talking was why would they add singing, and I still have that opinion.
Okay.
However, the record is actually really good.
Okay. I have not listened to it yet, so that's one that I need to listen to.
Yeah, I got it recommended by one of my buddies that I lived with, and he was like, "Dude, you really need to listen to that whole record." And so we lifted yesterday, and we just put on that record. I was like, "You should play the Boundaries record." So we just listened to it 3 or 4 times in a row.
Sick.
But yeah, man, it's really good. It's really well put together songs. Even though I would say I'm bummed on the singing just for the sole fact that Boundaries was doing it so well with no singing. But the singing they do have in it is pretty good. I just I was telling him, I was like, we already have an Under Oath. I don't need another one.
Sure. I gotcha. See, dude, I'm actually really pumped for their tour because they're coming with Orthodox, No Cure, and how do you say that? Kanashi? Do you know who those guys
Oh
are?
yeah, dude, they're really good.
Yeah,
They're cool.
they're weird. You
I
want to
think it's
talk about a
Kenoshi.
vocalist? Yeah, Kenoshi, that's right. You want to talk about a vocalist who is not your typical vocalist? Freaking Kenoshi, man.
He does a lot of guest vocals. I'm pretty sure at This Is Hardcore.
Oh, does he?
I think in Vain set and in Jesus Peace.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, I don't know where they're based out of. I'm gonna say Philly or just back east somewhere.
I know they're East Coast. I don't know
Hmm.
exactly where, but yeah, they're back east.
Yeah, Kenoshi's sick. I really like that
But
band.
yeah, so they're coming in May, and again, and this is a Kilby too. So Boundaries, Orthodox, Kenoshi, and No Cure. That show's going to be wild.
That'd be cool. That
If
would be
it,
a cool show to see.
I bet you that one might be sold out already. If it's not, I'll probably grab a ticket for that one.
I don't know. That's what's that's what's weird about some of those bands. I like I'm sure they get a good crowd, but they don't get like a sold out crowd, which is weird to me.
Yeah, Kilby's just small though. That's
It
the
is.
problem with Kilby.
It is, but like not many people like know about Orthodox, which is
That's
wild to me
true.
because I think Orthodox is awesome. That's some of the same members from A Dozen Black Roses.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's where they came from.
Yeah, I think the vocal. I could be wrong. I think it's the vocalist from A Dozen Black Roses is the guitar player for Orthodox,
Okay.
if I remember right. But anyway, but any of those kind of like weird like math metal bands because I really like Chamber too,
Yeah.
and they're kind of all along the lines of the same deal. And then Boundaries is more like the mainstream version of that.
Yeah.
So, but even like Boundaries, like they've come through a few times, and like I've never seen them because I've never known if that they came.
So they were just on the Dying Wish show last year that sold out Kilby.
Hmm.
And that show was wild. They played Parkway's Romance is Dead.
Yeah,
Did you see that? That was
uh,
a sick.
that's so
Dude, I
awesome.
wish I was there. Like anyone who plays Old Parkway, I'm here for it kind of thing.
Right.
So,
There's two tours that are coming through, not through Salt Lake though, and I'm like, why? So one was the Misery Signals, the one you sent me, and they're coming to Boise,
yep.
which good on Boise, I guess. And then the other one is the Ghosts Inside's coming with Paleface, but the closest they're coming is Grand Junction, Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Do you like Paleface?
I do. I can
Okay.
listen in small doses, but like they would be a really fun band to see live. My neighbor across the street actually has seen them quite a few times, and he was like, "Dude, you need to see that band."
Really?
He goes, "They are so good." You know, he's into a lot of like death metal and stuff like that. So
See, and I'm into death metal, right? I'm into deathcore, but Paleface is one that I've only like heard clips of. I've never like listened to their full album, so I should probably actually give them a little bit of a chance. I just haven't yet.
I think like 18-year-old you would be like, "Yes." You know, you listen to it down and be like, "Skip, this isn't really my thing anymore," but like it's good.
I, I feel like a lot of my music is definitely going like in a more immature route right now. I listen to a lot of trash right now. Let's be honest. I'll just say what it is, right? So, but
Right.
dude, I'm so bummed about the Misery Signals tour, but they do have 4 days off between Boise and LA. I'm hopeful that for some reason they'll make a trip down and we'll catch them here in Salt Lake. If not, dude, I might have to drive up and go see that. I think that that's going to be a ton of fun.
Which singer?
It's both of the singers.
That's dumb.
So both vocalists are going, which, you know, I don't know if they'll just do dual vocals the whole time or if he'll do controller and he'll do heart kind of thing.
I don't know. That's what well, Sleeping Giant, had the one vocalist, but they had two bass players that wrote like half and half. And
Oh,
so one bass
interesting.
player came on and played half the set, the other one played the other half.
A little bit easier with bass players. I hope that they just like put both vocalists up there and they just go the whole time together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know that they were. Listen, I mean, obviously, I don't know the guys in Misery Signals, but I didn't know they were like talking to Carl still. I thought he was off doing his own thing.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm kind of, I mean, bummed about those. I'm like, because I haven't seen the Ghost Inside since 2013.
yeah, last time I saw him was a Warp Tour.
Yeah, and I mean, Warp Tour. Seeing a band at Warp Tour is not like the same as seeing them at like an actual
Right.
venue. Did you get to listen to the new Knocked Loose?
Yeah, so that's on my list. What did you think about it?
I liked it. I
Did you
actually
like it
liked.
more than
I like.
Blinding Faith?
Yes, I liked it more.
Okay.
I'm interested to see where the direction of the rest of the record is, because let me look up all their stuff. So I think as far as like Knocked Loose goes, like Laugh Tracks was awesome. You know, a different shade of blue was holy shit, that's insane. A Tear into the Fabric of Life EP was good, but it didn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, even just like the song title, you won't go before you're supposed to. That I like that more than Blinding Faith, but I like the direction it's going.
It, it's borderline getting to deathcore though.
Oh yeah,
Like, dude,
for sure.
it's heavy. It's heavy, heavy.
They're starting to follow the same pattern as like Code Orange a little bit.
Yeah.
They just haven't gotten as weird, but they play in so many side bands like X Weapon X and Inclination,
Yeah.
and man, there's another one I can't remember. But they have still have a lot of these hardcore tied roots. I think there's a video of the guitar player for Knocked Loose actually doing guest vocals for A Dozen Black Roses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
So they're all still kind of tied into each other for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're kind of still able to keep their edge. But
Yeah.
um,
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked Blinding Faith more.
did you?
I don't know what it was. I thought Blinding Faith was a little bit better. And I mean, it's not like significantly better, but I did like Blinding Faith more. Did you
Yeah.
listen to Better Lovers, The Flowering?
No, but I saw a funny thing about Better Lovers.
What was that?
it it was from the Hard Times. Man, I should have screenshotted it. It said like it said Many Eyes awarded full custody. Better Lovers can only have it on the or every other weekend or something like that.
I saw that. Yeah, Many Eyes award full custody of fans.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Better Lovers can have them every other weekend. I'm like, that's funny.
you know, it was really funny. But Jordan Buckley, I saw it. I saw it because he posted it, and he's like, or so the headline was Many Eyes awarded full custody of Every Time I Die fans.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yep.
And Jordan Buckley's like, you guys can have them. Every Time I Die fans are the ones who freaking aired out my dirty laundry with my brother, and screw y'all, basically, is what it was.
Right.
So he was not having it. But I don't know, man. Like, this song, it is very Every Time I Die.
Is
It's
it?
that very Southern chaotic riff sounds. Greg's vocals, they're growing on me. I was not a huge fan of his vocals when essentially this is like Every Time I Die 2.0. Like the music is very similar, right?
Mhm.
And so I want Keith Buckley's vocals. I don't want Greg's vocals, but they are growing on me.
I think between the two, I prefer to just listen to Keith's vocals regardless of the music. That, like
Yeah.
you say, that's what kills it for me. Is not that it's like bad, but it it almost low key bums me out because I'm like expecting like to hear Keith, and I'm like, well, shit. But so when I saw Many Eyes with Thursday,
Yeah.
they played a lot of stuff on a record they haven't released yet, it was like slower and like
Yep.
still had a lot of groove, but Keith's vocals are just, as for that type of music, it's pretty unbeatable, in my opinion.
Exactly. Exactly. But like I said, I do feel like Greg's vocals are growing on me a little bit. So I'm hopeful with like a full album, it actually turns out pretty good. We'll have to see because the music is solid. Like it's still Jordan Buckley on guitar, and all that stuff is way fun. And Will Putney can obviously play whatever Jordan throws at him. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
not going to be any issues there. So couple more bands that dropped some stuff. Balmora with Since My Beloved, that split. Did you have a chance to listen to that?
I have.
Dude. And what was your thought?
I love Balmora. I think they're so
Oh,
good.
so good.
Did I ever send you their live intro?
Were they were covering the Black Dahlia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
fun.
sick.
So sick. Which Kyle and I talked about this. Black Dahlia is actually finishing a record right now.
Are they?
Yeah. Which will be cool. But that Balmora, Since My Beloved split, it was just like a throwback metalcore album. Like
Mm-hmm.
in my message to you, it was like, dude, this is like I Killed the Prom Queen again.
Yep.
Like it was so fun that way. But I think Since My Beloved is calling it quits.
Are they?
I think so. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from some of the posts that they were doing because they're doing like a small tour and it's like farewell, my beloved kind of thing.
Oh,
And it
really?
looks like they might be wrapping up. So that'd be fun.
I did see. I think it's all the way released. I think See Space Cowboy's new record is released. I think. Have you
I
listened to
know
the new
it's
one at all?
coming out. I have not. I don't follow Sea Space Cowboy too closely. I need to listen to their new stuff because I know that they've dropped at least singles, if not the whole album.
Let me see.
But I haven't.
Let's see. So it's up and coming, but they have released one, two, three, four, five songs off of it. It's
Oh,
definitely
okay.
way different from the other stuff. It's like following more of a trend towards like old emo stuff,
Oh, interesting.
which their singer talks about all the time. That she always envied like just like emo bands and stuff, like
Yeah.
typical like Hawthorne Heights
Okay.
and that kind of stuff. So
Like the whisper growl scream.
yeah, like that. But then then there's the sporadic stuff like Dillinger.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
can definitely hear in their music, but you can definitely find that it's trending more and more towards just like an emo band, like an emo screamo band, more or less.
Okay.
That's another tour that's coming through that I'm bummed about that isn't coming through here.
See you, Space Cowboy.
No, Hawthorne Heights.
Oh, they're touring.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's the
that
20th
is the bummer.
it's the 20th anniversary of Silence in Black and White,
Silence.
and
Where are they going to?
they're coming like basically like all around here, but Utah.
Who's on that tour?
I don't even know. I just saw it was a 20-year anniversary, and I was like, that'd
Dude,
be
that
kind of cool to
sucks.
see. By the way, they are doing a a deal on their website. So it was like $45, but I got a shirt, a sticker, and a vinyl pressing of the Silence in Black and White. If you're interested,
For like
send
how
me that.
much?
I mean, it was like $45 is
I might do that.
what we paid. Look at this.
That's sick. I can't see who it's with, but it does say that it's an acoustic tour.
Let's see. It says Behind the Tears acoustic tour.
Oh, bike routes. Special guest bike routes. I don't know who that is. So,
Yeah. So like basically the tour is going all the way to When We Were Young Fest.
you know what though? They don't really come west.
Well, let me
The
hold on.
furthest west they come is actually Iowa, Missouri. So, I could actually see this having a part two. And possibly doing West Coast later because they don't have anything West Coast over here. I would not be surprised if they do a part two to this and they actually make it out.
I can't find it right now. I had looked up and it had like all their dates listed out all the way up to when we were young, and none of them were here.
I see. They're doing their Is for Lovers festival tour again. So that's the second half of their year. And so they're doing Lake Tahoe, West Virginia,
Yeah, so
Illinois, Iowa, California, and then Ohio. So yeah, unfortunately, that's not. It does say first wave though. Dude, I don't know. I would not be surprised to actually see them make it out to Utah. If they do freaking Utah's for Lovers in August again, they're gonna fail again. That tour did not do well here last year.
it just looked so hot, and I was just like, no, like I can't do that. Even
And
like
it was
when
a
we did,
Friday.
even then, like my oh yeah, that it was weird. It was like on a work day.
Yeah. And it's opened at like noon.
Yeah,
I was
it
like,
was
I'm not
super
taking a
weird.
day off.
Well, even like I was telling my wife, I'm like, because they do Country Fan Fest in the middle of summer, and this last year it was out in the middle of Tooele,
Okay.
which is it's a city outside of Salt Lake, like I don't know, what would you say, 20 minutes outside of Salt Lake, probably 20, 30
Yeah,
minutes.
25, 30 minutes, whatever.
But
Yeah.
there's no shade, there's nothing. The wind is terrible. This is the I-80 route that you take to Reno. They shut down all the time when the wind is too bad. So there's no coverage or anything. And yeah, she came back after like I think she was there for 2 days. She was like, that was the hottest thing I'd ever had to endure. And she went Country Fan Fest in boots, cowboy boots, and regular jeans. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. I sat in my house in the AC, and then we went to the water park the next day, me and the kids. So,
I gotcha. And
but
then the only other thing that I saw was 18 Visions just got added to Furnace Fest, playing their Obsession album.
that's cool.
Were you a fan of that one?
I'd have to look at is it an earlier album or later?
Yeah, it's like 2004. It's the one with the heart on it.
Oh, okay.
I was never a huge 18 Visions fan, mostly just because I didn't listen to them. I didn't like dislike them. I just didn't listen to them.
Their first stuff's heavy, and then they kind of went like, I don't know if like rocker is like the right
Yeah.
way to say it, but kind of like that. But then they released a record. It's like their last one or the one before, and they went back to like hardcore heavy stuff.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
I'll have
don't
to
know.
listen to them.
I never saw 18 Visions. Like I say, probably in the same boat with you. It's not like I didn't like not care for them. They just weren't really ever on my radar of bands because I was into just too many other things at the time, like Broken Wings.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because I think their vocalist ended up being from Salt Lake, wasn't he? So,
Uh, bass bass player Mick
oh,
Morris.
that yeah, that guy.
Mhm. Yeah, Mick
So,
played in Clear, an old
oh,
Salt Lake
okay,
band. Yeah, so
I gotcha.
and he also played in Bleeding Through.
Oh, all right. I know that Bleeding Through and 18 Visions traded members all the time. It seems like so.
Mm-hmm. But
Uh,
yeah, well, kind of threw it in there earlier, but I'm sure everyone thought we were talking about Knocked Loose. We started down that road, but no, I it was my pick this week, and I chose a band that I really loved when I was like 18 years old, and I still love them to this day, and they are On Broken Wings. This band's wild because people went so nuts for them, but like they weren't your traditional hardcore band.
no,
It just had like weird stuff, but it wasn't like fast weird like Dillinger or Converge. it was like a random breakdown with a random singing part with random claps to random buildups that like in no way, shape, or form, like I'm sure whoever tried to produce them was like, I can't handle this. I'm just gonna hit record and you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do. What was your first time hearing them? Do you remember?
I do. So I bought It's All Along Goodbye on a whim in like 2007 or 2008. And I picked it up at the same time I picked up Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza Volume 2. And so, like, when you want to talk about like chaotic and stuff, like these two albums, like Tony Danza is the extreme of that, right? And
Yeah.
then you had On Broken Wings, that's like they have some of that stuff, but like you said, they've got some hardcore, they've got some post-hardcore, they've just got some metalcore. Like they're everywhere. They encompass so much of it that when I would actually get burned out of Tony Danza craziness, I would throw on Broken Wings as kind of the come down to Tony Danza. So It's All Along Goodbye is the album that I spent the most time with. I didn't ever have Some of Us May Never See the World. I
Hmm.
knew some of the songs, but I didn't ever have it. Like I knew Listless and like Starscream, which is the clap song, right?
Hmm.
But then yeah, I mean It's All Along Goodbye is on Broken Wings for me.
So I remember prior out, or it was 2007, 2008, right around there. You know, people I was hanging out with at the time up in Ogden, you know, they talked about this band a lot. And at that time, it was like, okay, well, who's got them on iTunes and who's got, you know, an iPod so I can plug it into your computer and I can download bands, you know. That's
Yeah.
how, like, at that time, that's how you got your music if you couldn't find it on a CD. And so I actually end up getting the records I downloaded. The one that you were talking about, It's All Along Goodbye. But then I also had Some of Us May Never See the World,
Yep.
which, you know, some of those songs do transfer over to It's All Along Goodbye. Like I do my crosswords in pen,
Which
for example.
it's kind of annoying, I'll be honest.
Okay,
Like, why did they do that?
so I've had this debate in my own band, and I feel this way. If you track and record a song, I don't really care. I don't even care if it's on an EP. In my opinion, it should not be re-recorded again because, like, when I hear a song the first time, that's how I remember it, right? And then when I go listen to, like, say another record and I hear the same song and it's not the same, and I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? Like
Yeah,
this is weird, and I'm like, I don't like that. And so in my arguments with my own band, you know, I don't want to re-record that song. I that I'm like, it's a waste of time. We've already done it. We should do something else. Yada yada yada. You know, I get, you know, I either get out. I got outvoted once, and I was like, okay, yeah, we'll just do it. But like, I just then I've got two versions of it, and I'm like, I like the first version better. I don't like this one,
sure.
even though like the second version was done way better. I still like the first one better.
Right.
So I don't know what are you just in bands in general like.
The first song that comes to mind like that, and it makes me so mad. Okay, the first band is the Confide album. We talk about that album all
Yes,
the time. It is so trash that they went back and re-recorded that. It's
yeah,
garbage. That was a full album, right? So we can, I guess, throw that one to the side a little bit. But the first song that pops to mind when I think about this is Sea of Treachery covering Misery Business.
yes.
Because that first version on what's the Daggers album or whatever
Hmm.
is so good. And then when they picked up the Jamie's Elsewhere vocalist as their bass player and re-recorded it, it is so bad. And it made me so mad. And I like Jamie's Elsewhere. I'm not crapping on Jamie's Elsewhere. It was just such a bad re-recording of such a good song.
Hmm.
This is a little
100%.
bit different with these ones because, like, I don't feel like any of the versions are bad. They're just slightly different.
Well, so the first Confide album was never mastered.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, which obviously you can't find that record anywhere, which is
Yeah.
a bummer. But yeah, the way you could find out if something was mastered or not, if there's a drastic volume change in your headphones from one CD to the next,
Yeah.
that's your difference in mastering. Now, not every mastering is going to be the same, but it shouldn't be like here to like here.
Right.
So every time I suck because every time I listen to that record, at the time I was mowing lawns, so I had my like Discman in my pocket, and I'd just be like jamming out, and all of a sudden, like I would throw that record in, and then like I couldn't hear anything. I'd have to
Yeah.
like hold my headphones like this and like try and listen to something. But so I wish so when they re-released it, it was actually really loud, and it kicks in, you can hear Ross's voice, and I'm like, man, this is sick. Now it's loud, it's gonna be sweet, and then the
You get
singing gets put
mother
in, and
effing
you're like,
Joel Piper.
what? What did you do?
Yep.
But
Dude.
the new Confide record, or the last one, not the last one, the one they did before they split,
Okay.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not crapping on the band Confide in total, but just that specific album, like, it was so freaking good. And then to go and re record it, it just ruined how good
Mm-hmm.
those songs were. Like, if you're going to write songs with the current members, you're going to obviously make some changes to accommodate, like Joel Piper's voice and things along those lines. And Josh
Right.
has another mouse in his house.
Nope. Nope. Got them all.
But that album was not made for Joel Piper's voice.
Right.
And that was the problem.
Well, and even the style of it, because they changed kind of what they were doing. Because when they finally recorded with Sturgis, they were pretty much on an entire brand new lineup.
That's true.
Yeah, because their last remaining original member was the bass player.
Yeah.
He quit, so they had two new guitarists. Yeah, just should have been a totally different band at that point. So,
Yeah. But this one's weird, right? Because, like we have been saying, so number one, Beautiful, that was the first EP they did in 2001. Even that has I Do My Crosswords in Pen. And here's the thing, I Do My Crosswords in Pen is an absolutely incredible song. But they use I Do My Crosswords in Pen as their jumping off point on all three of their first albums,
yep,
EP and the first two.
yep,
It was just like, okay, well, let's write 9 songs, and then we're just going to re-record it, and we'll tweak it a little bit, right?
yep,
And we're going to do a little bit of a different intro.
yep. Zababla does the same thing on a few songs,
Do
like
they?
"Cold," for instance.
Okay.
So they have a split where they first released "Cold." That's like the best version of "Cold," and then they re-released "Cold" on their full length, and it's just like it's not bad, but I'm like, come on, man.
See, and I don't know if I'm as opposed to going EP to full length as you are. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you do it on EP, if it's like a 3 or 4 song EP, and then you want to put it on a full album, I'm probably okay with that. But if you go LP to LP, that's where I'm like, what are you doing here?
Right. Well, let's put it this way. If you, let's say if you had a band's EP and they're like, dude, they're recording a full length. This is going to be sick. And you got that full length. And 3 of the songs were from the EP. And then they had 7 other songs, and your favorite songs were still those 3. Would you be kind of bummed about the full length?
Guess it would depend on how good those other songs were.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, like let's say, like the 7 songs are just kind of whatever. And you're like, wow, this was kind of a.
Yeah, why am I listening to this?
Yeah. However, where I find maybe this is different. This is different for me with On Broken Wings. I think my favorite version of I Did My Crossword and Pen is the one on It's All a Long Goodbye.
I agree with that.
So maybe it took me 3 tries to finally get the one.
But I also think that it fits the best probably in that album, which I think is why it also lends to being the best version of it. Because I think overall, it is best suited in that set of songs.
Mhm,
That being said, like this was the album that I listened to a ton. So
mhm.
maybe that's again bias on my part. But I will say, I actually think that Some of Us May Never See the World is their best album. I really liked it, even though I mostly listened to It's All Along Goodbye.
Mhm.
I just think that I Do My Crosswords and Pen fit super
Yeah.
well. Like Suffer to Pushing Daisies, More Than Life to I Do My Crosswords and Pens. Those four songs straight through are just so good, like consecutively.
Yes. Yeah. I think to me this is at least to this point, this is the best sounding record as well.
Totally.
You
100%.
know. And this is around, well, so this is 2005, so these songs are older. By the time I had heard them, they'd already been out for 3 years.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
longer than that, probably like 5-6 years. But uh, one of my favorite things about, like I was saying about Unbroken Wings, was their shows. So I've seen them twice,
Okay.
and it happened to be two of some of the craziest shows I've ever been to. And I went back and looked at these lineups. I'm like, yay, that's insane to think about. But so I seen them in 2008. Um,
Okay.
so they played at this place called the Ritz Bowling Alley. So the
Oh, are you
bowling alley was like,
serious?
yeah, the bowling alley was like on some weird side, and we were like in like the party area side or whatever. They played a lot of they had hosted a lot of shows there.
Yeah.
Like Animosity played there once, and then they had stuff like
That's where we saw O Sleeper, Before Their Eyes, Memphis Mayfire with their original vocalist.
hmm yeah,
Yeah.
yep, had a lot of crazy shows there. That was when they were still doing the mental health stuff. That was the mental health was a booking agency,
Okay.
and they were the guys that ran stuff up at NVO. That's where you got to see no bragging rights, and then they
Yeah.
ran stuff in Ogden for a long time, like a Club Boomva and the Ogden Country Club, things like that. So, but anyway, so yeah, 2008. Hearing On Broken Wings, I'm like, oh, dude, On Broken Wings is coming. I'm like, oh, this is going to be crazy, right? And so the show was actually, I talked about it with Kyle on a different one. The tour was On Broken Wings, Legia, Recon, and Emir.
Oh, dude, wild.
And this is like in the like epitome of where Emir's like at the top of their game as far as like what heavy music was at the time.
Yeah.
Same with Recon, and then
Yeah.
you put On Broken Wings, and like Legia was pretty good as well. Dude, that was a rough show.
I can imagine.
It's definitely a show where you had to hold your own. And I remember On Broken Wings playing, and I was being 18, and like I hadn't been going to like heavy shows like that for long enough to like kind of be able to throw my own weight. But uh, yeah, I was pretty terrified. You know,
Sure.
um, and then that was also the first show where I was part of and got saw like my first like giant fight at a show
Sure. Yeah.
like that. And I just remember like the entire room moving, uh, and it wasn't like you didn't know who to hit or who was hitting you or who you were hitting. It was just like fists flying. It was almost like a total bar fight, but just like hardcore kids,
Right. Right.
and like both dudes and chicks all fighting. Like it was just like a full on wow. And then Amir just kept playing through the whole thing.
Right.
So in a way, I'm like, man, this is cool. We got a hardcore band playing too while we're just
Just
beating the
pummeling
shit out
each
of each
other.
other. But yeah, I was like, man, that's a crazy source. That was my first impression of On Broken Wings, right?
So let me ask you this before you move on from that. So Amur, like you said, they're at their height of
Mm-hmm.
like if you went to an Amir show, it was going to be a violent show. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just what they were going to be known for. Them, the Acacia Strain. There was a few bands that basically, if they came through, that's what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Was On Broken Wings as crazy as like Recon and Amir, or was a lot of stuff kind of being kind of tiptoed around until the Recon and Amir played?
Mm.
From what you
Well,
remember,
more people showed up to see Unbroken Wings than Emir and Recon.
the old guys.
Right. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that. And so it attracted a lot of people that may not put up with some of the people that are going to show up for a band like Amir.
Right. Right. A lot of those kids we used to hang out with that were showing up for the
So like,
Amirs.
like I have like where I was trying to tell you like my idea like of like asked me if I was going to go to the Kublai Khan show.
Yeah.
When we were talking, I'm like, mixed people like that like just really isn't my drive anymore. Just because I don't have the energy to be in a fight like
Right.
that anymore. But because like Kublai Khan's sick. They're a way heavy band. They're way good. But then you have a band like Momentum, which is also very good band. Really cool dudes. I think they're awesome. But the crowd that like Momentum brings versus the crowd that Kublai Khan brings, not the same.
Yeah.
And the guys that are going to show up for Momentum are not going to put up with the guys that show up for Kublai Khan either.
And dude, like it's so unfortunate, man. Like it's really just been over the last year that Kublai Khan has attracted the attention of the TikTok crowd with
Right.
this new stupid dance to what's
Yeah, I've seen
oh
it.
my gosh, dude. It makes me so mad.
It it makes me kind of like irritated, but at the same time, I guess that's one way to get your name out.
Yeah, I mean, good for Kublai Khan. Like, I'm not discrediting Kublai Khan.
Right.
They're selling out every show on this tour. And the fact that they're taking Tsunami, Momentum, and is it Judiciary with them?
Yes.
That's incredible.
So you got to think
Good on Kublai Khan.
you got three like pretty well known hardcore bands that bring out
Hardcore bands.
actual legitimate like hardcore kids.
Yeah.
Hardcore kids aren't going to show up for Kublai Khan. You might get a few, but it ain't the same.
Oh,
You're
I'd be
going to
there
get
for
that.
Kublai Khan. So,
You know what I mean? You're going to get the
yeah.
showgoer that shows up for Kublai Khan that's going to buy 3 pieces of merch and like be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Those three bands coming together would not pull the crowd that's being pulled with Kublai Khan as the headliner,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, no, for sure.
So, but yeah, it was kind of like that, and like when I saw him the second time, it was very similar, just a
Okay.
little more extreme. So,
Okay.
so they're on another tour. This is 2011. So it would have been 21, I think. And they're on tour with a band. I don't know if you remember them. A band called D's Nuts.
Yep. Yep.
They're on. So it was them. So it was On Broken Wings, D's Nuts, Architects, Parkway Drive, and Bring Me the Horizon. This is the infamous
Yeah.
Bring Me the Horizon show that's all over the YouTube of
Yep.
of them getting beat up, whatever. But the same thing. The entire show was nuts.
Yeah.
You know, there's a YouTube video of the scuffle of what I don't even remember his name. The singer for
It wasn't the singer Ollie
yeah, it was Ollie and the little scuffle on stage, whatever.
and the bass
You know,
player swings at him. Yeah.
and I'm laughing. Read the comments on that. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, you think that's rough? I'm like, you got to see what happened during Architects, man.
Right.
So it's the same. So same kind of situation. You get all like a bunch of the hardcore kids that are showing up around Broken Wings because they haven't played through here, since 2008. So you're talking like 3 years, almost 4. They haven't released anything new in a while because the last record was 2007. So it's like they just want to hear them to play "I Do My Crossword Puzzles in Pen."
Yep.
like the
Yep.
infamous
And
song.
Starscream.
Yep. And so they show up and they play, and Architects plays. So I think it went These Nuts, On Broken Wings, and then Architects. Well, during
Yep.
Architects, there were some dudes that like were up top in the 21 and over section, and they were throwing beer on the hardcore kids. And like I have this so vivid in my memory of like all of us running up the stairs and the security guard literally standing to the side, and he was just like, I do not get paid enough for this shit. Things like that. Because the guys that showed up to be in the 21 over section or drinking showed up for a band like Bring Me the Horizon.
Right.
That, I hate to kind of say it like that, but that's what it is. So
I
yeah,
mean, at that time, like, let's just like quantify what we just talked about. Bring Me the Horizon was Kubla Khan, right? They
Mhm.
were essentially like a super heavy, aggressive band out of the get go, and they caught the mainstream attention, and they became like sellout headliners,
Mhm.
exactly like what we just talked about with Kubla Khan. So it's a whole different crowd that would have been there even a year before that was there for probably that show.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Unbroken Wings plays and Parkway Drive plays, and then Bring Me the Horizon plays, and then if you ever want to find out what happened on YouTube, I guess you can watch that. But
Yeah,
um,
Salt Lake City,
but
Bring Me the Horizon fight.
yeah, but same kind of stuff. Like it just they everyone, a lot of people show up to see them, and then stuff just got crazy at the show. But it was like the two shows were pretty dominant in Salt Lake at the time, and I was like, man, it was a rough show. But also, when I think about that show, because there was so much controversy all over Facebook and social media about if you're going to show up to shows and fight, blah 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 blah. And I remember like at that time, I still feel this way. I don't give a shit. You should have looked at that lineup and been like, "There's probably going to be a fight." Like if you
Yeah,
didn't look at that lineup and like thought like, "Man, no, everything's going to be good," I'm like, "You're an idiot."
yeah.
Because like, come on, man. Like, I'm all for mixed bills. Don't get me wrong, but I still have that hardcore kid mentality. I'm not going to deal with some rock star trying to be the pit king. You know what I mean?
You know, it's
Or your
funny
beer
that you
salami.
say that. It's funny that you say that because, and this is going to sound super weird, but even seeing 4 Year with Story of the Year, it was kind of the same vibes. Like when I got there with my wife, I was looking around and I'd kind of picked out like who I knew was there for 4 Year. And then there's 95% of the crowd who was there for Story of the Year and stuff like that. And during the first Youth Fountain Band, there was just your typical push pitting, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I was just like, it's not going to fly. Like, there's enough of the kids here who are here to dance for 4 Year that will not fly. And
Right.
sure enough, like I text you guys, or I told you guys later, like Legends got played like the third song in, and it got wild for just a second. And I don't think that the majority of the crowd knew what was happening.
Oh,
And then
100%.
it kind of died down. So I really only went and pitted for Legends because I was like, I can't get hurt. I say that all the time. I can't. I'm too old. I can't get hurt
Can't
anymore.
get hurt.
So, I went and I
Yeah.
did my thing for one song, but then
You
just
know, I
let
really,
me.
I really had this whole like, I'm not going to mosh for AFI. They're not going to play anything old. I'm not. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. And then they started playing something off. Shut your mouth and open your eyes. I'm like, nope. I'm going over the barricade.
Yep.
But you know what? Like like I talked about that mentality that I can't stand is. I remember I went over the barricade, walked around, trying to work my way back up front. I'm like, it's a tight crowd. It's a sold out show. I get it. It's tight. But man, if someone's trying to like work their way to the front, like let them through. Don't be a dick. Like
Right.
just So anyway, trying to like get past this dude. The pit's like right there, and the kid's like right there, and he's like doing the waddle, like cuddle walk with his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to like get around him. I'm not, and he's just like shouldering me. He's not moving. And I remember I kind of looked down. I was like, kind of pointed and need to go that way. And he looked at me and he goes, And I was like, all right. And I remember I just like I put my fist like this and I just like shoved him and he like kind of fell over his girlfriend and I like went past him and
Look pass.
he was like, what's your problem? And I just remember too, I was like, I've got to kill you. But yeah, I'm like, it's that kind of stuff where I'm like, I don't know, like how you go to shows and how you've been acting. I'm like, but I ain't dealing with that.
I know.
Uh,
It's so weird. Especially getting older too, like the mixed bills, people bringing their wives. And listen, I bring my wife, like she likes to go to shows. I would not take her to a show like that though. I'll take her
right.
to Four Year. Like she'll have fun at Four Year. She's not going to have fun at even at AFI, right? So, and if
Well,
she does go, she's going to stand towards the back.
well, it depends on like what you grow up like listening to, right? Because like, I mean, I would just assume your wife grew up listening to very much different music than
Oh, very much so.
and where my wife, her older brother listened to a lot of stuff that we listened to. So like before her softball games and stuff, she would listen to Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah,
So she had a lot of that influence. So, but it's the same
but
kind of deal where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go in there. You're not gonna follow me because I'm not gonna be responsible for you in there. I'm gonna be way too immature to like comprehend what's going on with you.
that's
And
what
like,
I'm saying.
and
Yeah.
anything does happen to you, then I'm going to be in more trouble. Not because something happened to you, but because whoever I do to the person that did something to you. And then so she's like, I'm just going to go hang out upstairs.
Upstairs, in the back, or at least off to the side. Or if they did grow up with that,
Mm-hmm.
they know what to expect. If someone pushes past them, whatever, push past, right?
Yeah.
It's the people who don't know what to expect that do what just happened. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They turn and try to
Exactly.
fight you for pushing
Well,
forward. So,
they weren't young people either. We were either about the same age or, within years. So I'm like, dude, move.
right.
So, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, I, that was one thing I always thought that was weird with this band. At least the two times that I got to see them, they were just on weird bills that like still brought out hardcore kids, but like it always ended up. That's why though I thought on mixed bills at that time was like probably wouldn't do that. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be a good one, but
Yeah. That's true. And here's the thing is like, at least for me, I didn't go to a ton of just like straight up hardcore shows. My hardcore exposure was through mixed bills, right? So
mm-hmm,
like it was bands like this where all of a sudden you would see like the true like hardcore crowd come out
mm-hmm,
where it was like, oh, okay. So that's what's happening now.
mm-hmm.
Before, we were like the metalcore kids. You know what I mean? It was like we were going to the Devil Wears Prada and we were dancing and stuff, but it wasn't the same as a
No,
hardcore
no.
show,
They
right?
kind of just
So,
open up and let you do your thing or release you alone. Hardcore pit. It's like you better be able to throw in your own weight because you're gonna get smacked if you don't.
yep, exactly.
Um,
So it was always interesting.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so when they released their last record, I think it was in 2016.
Disintegrator, yep.
Yeah. So my favorite song off of that record, still this day, I listen to it all the time at the gym, is Quicksand Breeze or Quicksand Brass, however you want to say it.
Okay. Yep.
Just the way it starts in, just double bass and like just like a build up and then just goes right into that like heavy, like chuggy riff.
Yeah.
Holy crap. It is insane. To me, and the quality of the recording was good. And then I was just like, please don't let the voice change. Please don't let the voice change. And his voice is the exact same. And I'm like, yes, this is what I needed to hear. Um, and just like the whole album too, like there's wild stuff. The little kid holding a gun to his head. Just like this
Yeah.
band does not care about your feelings. um,
No.
no, you know what I mean. But that whole record, I don't know if you really got to listen to that record a lot, but dude, that
I
was a
listened to
really
it a
good record.
ton. Yeah. I listened to it a lot over the last few days. And I'll be honest, like, as I was listening to it, I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Starting out with, the procession and then quicksand breaths. it is what the heavy parts Amir should have became.
Mm-hmm.
Like up to what was the Amir albums? I think Felony is where I kind of fell off with Amir. So let's see. So you had Goodbye to the Gallows,
Yep.
and then you had the Respect Issue, and then you
Mm-hmm.
had Felony.
Yep.
I listened to Speaker of Dead, but after Felony, if they had done what Disintegrator was for their heavy stuff, they would have stayed on top, in my opinion. And listen, people love Amir. I don't get it. I don't like Amir that much anymore. Like, I'll go listen to the Respect Issue. I'll go listen to Goodbye to the Gallows. But for the most part, I'm not a huge Amir fan. But the heavy parts on Disintegrator, I was like, oh, that's like old Amir style heavy.
Yep.
And it was like, it was fun. So when you say, they toured with Amir and stuff, I'm like, yeah, like I can hear it. And you know that they were an influence to early Amir off of their
Mm-hmm.
early stuff.
Oh,
So
I don't doubt that at all. Yeah, they're just so good. Well, I know, like, we didn't talk about this, but they have like an off weird singing style, but it blends and it fits.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like some harmonic thing, some singing thing, like where I talk about, when Boundaries added their singing. It's kind of like out of nowhere. It's like kind of like some like I'm just gonna like try and sing, and like if it's close enough, just keep it.
yeah. So like the bands I thought about when this was all happening from Autumn to Ashes. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They are a worse singing version of From Autumn to Ashes. They're a heavier version too. So like if you wanted to compare the two bands, Autumn to Ashes was like a little bit more post-hardcore, and then On Broken Wings was just like a heavier metalcore sound, but they're both very similar, like in some of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of the same singing tempos and not quite good singing, but it fits. And then like all of that stuff is like influencing like Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's influencing like Greeley Estates and all of those bands and stuff too. So no, I totally agree with you. We talked about it at the first. They're not good singers, but it works. It
Yeah,
works for this band.
100%. Yeah, I still love this band. I think they're great. I think vast majority of what they've released has been awesome. I haven't really found anything about them that I haven't really liked that I've been like, nope, that's terrible. Which maybe I'm just a biased one. Um, I know there.
I
Yeah,
didn't think anything was terrible. I didn't love going down those 4 songs before the EP.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have laughed really hard if they did my crossword. I do my crosswords in pen. If they put that on their new record, I probably would have
On the
laughed at that
2016.
point. Yeah, because it's on every single record up until then.
They just need to do a re-release with it being a
So,
bonus track.
so maybe it's a joke. You're like, let's just put that one back on.
Yeah. I mean, like, considering that they literally coined the term moshcore as their style of music, like,
Hmm.
I can see why they put it on there. It's the song that has the heartless chant, right? That's the chant that happens. And that is probably the highlight of every single On Broken Wings set is the heartless chant.
Well, what's funny? So you call it a chant, but in the recording, he's just saying "heartless." Like
Yeah,
he's
I guess.
actually saying it he's like it's a heartless sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which
I
I
guess I
think
don't know what to call it other than a chant, but
I think that's sick though. Where you're like, oh man, that's sick. Because live, obviously, it's a chant.
yeah.
No, but
No, it's true. I mean, when it first hits, if like you haven't heard the song and he's just like heartless, you're like, wait, what? Because it almost sounds like 2 different songs too when that happens. Like it cuts off, and like where he starts saying heartless could literally just be a new song. Like they could have started a song where it was just like heartless, Heartless, and then into the breakdown, and that could have been a song in and of itself.
Right. No, for sure. Well, that's really all that I got about this band. Did you ever get to see them? I don't remember.
I don't think I did because I wasn't at that Bring Me the Horizon show.
You may have not really caught on to that heavy of music at that point in 2008
Eight.
to want to go to that show.
I saw a mirror, but I saw a mirror at the Avalon.
See, and I didn't go to the Avalon show. That was when allegedly a bunch of people got maced.
Yeah,
Or got shut down.
yeah, yep. So I saw a mirror there. So I didn't see it. The only show that I saw at the Ritz was that Memphis Mayfire show that I mentioned. So I'd like to see them. They just got added to the Northeast Music Fest that takes place out in Worcester, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
No, it would be way fun, especially back east where these guys are from. I can only imagine that their set is going to be insane. On Broken Wings, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
On Broken Wings set in Massachusetts is going to be wild.
Yeah, not that. Well, what are you guys doing next week? You're doing another local thing?
We haven't really talked about it yet. So we've got a couple actual interviews coming up where we're talking to a few guys. We actually lined up some pretty cool guys to come on with us. So I'll have to tell you offline. But yeah, I don't think we've really thrown it out. I think Kyle's next. So I'm sure he's going to do someone dumb like
I think he's going to do Creed or Nickelback.
Nickelback. So, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll throw that out there. It might be locals. It might be another big band. We'll just have to see. Are you around next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see what's going on then. So
get ready for this snowstorm on Saturday. So
yeah, when's your actual lifting comp?
End of this month. It's like the last weekend of April. So I'm just wrapping up my training, and I've got one more squat next week. I've got 2 more benches, and I've got 2 more pulls. And then we put it out there. See what happens. If I die, I die.
Good freaking luck, man. It's freaking insane watching you. So, well, sick. Well, we'll all catch you next week. So,
Later.
peace.